Okay. So let me get right to it, and I'm going to get in the car and go right down to Washington after this. So, thanks for being here. Why are we here? Well, to say there's just minor turbulence at Newark Airport and the FDA, that'd be a big...
FAA.
What'd I say?
FDA.
Oh, sorry.
You
They're a mess too.
You should just
Okay. So why are we here? Well, to say that there is just minor turbulence at Newark Airport and the FAA, that would be the understatement of the year. We're here because the FAA is really a mess. This mess needs a real forensic look, a deep look into it. We know that airlines have been canceling flights. We have ATC folks giving warnings. We have a 1990 technology being used in 2025. And we have safety issues, plain and simple. So today, I'm demanding a full Inspector General investigation as to what went on. I have asked the Office of Inspector General to thoroughly investigate what's going on at Newark and in the East Coast so these problems don't get worse and spread all across the nation. The chaos at Newark could very well be a harbinger if issues like these aren't fixed, and if the FAA can't get real solutions off the ground. What are some of the problems? First, there's an unresolved and nationwide air traffic controller shortage. Second, DOGE hacked a chainsaw and fired many people at the FAA who have not been replaced. 3, the technology is old and must be updated. It was one of the things that happened at Newark is a copper wire burnt. Why are we using copper wire in 2025? Have they heard of fiber? And 4, depleting federal funds that the administration cannot ignore in the upcoming budget. They've got to invest more in the air traffic control system. So all this is a larger warning that we have to heed. According to reports, insiders say that Newark's controllers, tasked with managing the third highest, busiest airspace, have long warned the FAA of these problems. Newark's air traffic controllers have long warned the FAA that there are problems here. But the FAA waited, there was chaos, there were cuts, and so that's why the Office of the Inspector General at the Department of Transportation must comb the FAA's administrative, operational, and capital functions right away. We need the Office of Inspector General to look into how the FAA is managing its multifold mission of keeping the flying public safe and the airspace efficient amid the national air traffic controller shortage, possible political pressures, and tech failures. And this thorough investigation, I've asked in the letter that you have, 4 specific questions be answered and be answered quickly. First, why were the Potomac TRACON, that's the air traffic control towers, so let me put it that way so I'm not using jargon. Why were the Potomac air traffic control towers covering D.C., the Philadelphia air traffic control towers covering Newark, and the Newark air traffic control towers excluded from the FAA's May 1st, 2025 list of 13 hard-to-staff facilities? Because they knew that there were shortages, they offered a $10,000 bonus to 13 different air traffic control towers, but not to Washington, Philadelphia, or New York. Why? Since we're the ones with the greatest need. It makes no sense. These are the places where the shortage creates real problems. Second, how much has the recent loss of several thousand experienced safety and support personnel due to DOGE firings and resignations, forced and voluntary, contribute to the current chaos? Large numbers of people were fired and others were quit because they saw what mismanagement was coming from DOGE. How has that affected things? Third, what is the plan to replace the decades-old technology, equipment, and infrastructure, which now uses copper wires and floppy disks? That shows you how ancient it is in a key place. And fourth, what is the plan to quickly fill the critical leadership vacancies at the FAA, including the FAA's air traffic organization, Head of the FAA's air traffic administration, one of the key people to manage the airports, recently resigned. He announced his retirement, many believe out of frustration with how the FAA is managed under the Trump administration. Who's replacing him? Is the person qualified? How quickly can they get them? So who is guiding the agency runway here? Where is the competent leadership? Look, Newark Liberty, the airport, will continue to grapple with very significant operational disruptions if the critical shortages of air traffic controllers continues without a solution. And longer term, other airports in the nation will have the same problems we've seen at Newark if nothing is done. So we need a thorough forensic look. We'll take questions on this subject. Yes.
Hi, Senator. Two questions. Have you had any direct communication with either Secretary Duffy's office or President Trump on this? Obviously, the airport's not working, serves no one, regardless of party. And why ask for an Inspector General's report when you know the Trump administration has fired a number of staff in the various offices?
Look, the Inspector General is supposed to be an independent agency. That's their job, to look into this. They're familiar with what goes on there. The Inspector General is the appropriate place to have an investigation. And my office has been in touch with the FAA on numerous occasions about these problems.
And what have they said, if you could shed some light on those
They're not
conversations?
saying much. That's the